Good morning, grade 4. Welcome to the English class. Today, let's learn a new chapter, chapter 7, the indomitable Sudha Murthy. So, have you heard about Sudha Murthy? Sudha Murthy or Sudha Kulkarni Murthy was born in Karnataka. She completed her bachelor's in electrical engineering with first class and a gold medal. She completed her master's in computer science engineering from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and that too with a gold medal. She became the first female engineer to be hired into India's largest auto manufacturer, Telco, now known as the Tata Motors. She started the company Infosys with her husband Narayan Murthy. She is a non-philanthropist for her social work. She has also spread awareness on rural education, public hygiene, poverty alleviation, and much more. Being an author, Ms. Murthy has published many stories in Kannada as well as English. So the story, The Indomitable Sudha Murthy, is about her being a strong woman and how she stood up against gender bias after she sees a job advertisement stating that women need not apply. So the story is about how she writes a long letter to the head of the institution pointing out the injustice the company was practicing. She was soon called out for an interview and she got selected. So let's read about this incident. All of you please take your English reader and turn to page number 100. So the chapter 7, The Indomitable Sudha Murthy. Indomitable means brave or someone who cannot be defeated. So, as a warm-up session, do you know anyone who is very self-confident? List the qualities that make such a person confident and discuss in groups. So, this one you can do with your family or friends. If you think someone is having great self-confidence, you can talk about them in this session as a warm-up activity. Now, reading. When a job advertisement posted by a Tata company asked women candidates not to apply, Sudha Murthy, a young postgraduate then, immediately sent off a letter to JRD Tata. Read on to find out what happened thereafter. So let's read the story. It was a long time ago. I was in the final year of my master's course in computer science at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, now Bengaluru, then known as the Tata Institute. Life was full of fun and joy. So Sudha Murthy was doing her postgraduate course at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. Now Bangalore is known as Bengaluru and the institute was then called the Tata Institute. She was having a great time with her college life and life was full of fun and joy, she says. It was probably the April of 1974. Bangalore was getting warm and red gulmohars were blooming at the IISC or the Indian Institute of Science campus. So the campus of this institute is spread over 400 acres of land and it has got both exotic and indigenous plant species including the beautiful red gulmohars. I was the only girl in my postgraduate department and was staying at the ladies' hostel. So she was doing her postgraduate course in computer science and she was the only girl in her department. Other girls were pursuing research in different departments of science. I was looking forward to going abroad to complete a doctorate in computer science. I had been offered scholarships from universities in the US. I had not thought of taking up a job in India. So she was doing her master's in computer science engineering at this Indian Institute of Science. She was the only girl in her department, but all the other girls were doing research in their respective departments. And she had great plans for her future. She did not have any plan to take up a job in India because she had received scholarships from the United States. She wanted to do a doctorate in computer science. And then one day, while on the way to my hostel from our lecture hall complex, I saw an advertisement on the notice board. So one day she was going back to her hostel and she sees this advertisement on the notice board. Let's see what the advertisement was about. It was a standard job requirement notice from the famous automobile company Telco, now Tata Motors. So this advertisement was from the famous company Telco, now known as the Tata Motors. It stated that the company required young, bright engineers, hardworking and with excellent academic background, etc. So this was an advertisement from the company called Telco, and it called for young, bright engineers who were hardworking and with excellent academic backgrounds. But there was something about the advertisement that caught her attention. Let's see what's that. At the bottom was a line, "Lady candidates need not apply." I read it and was very upset. So she was going through this advertisement published on the notice board. And she sees this line written in the advertisement. In the notice, it was written, "Lady candidates need not apply." She read this and she got very upset. She felt like the company was showing a discrimination based on gender. Though I was not keen on taking up a job, I saw this as a challenge. Though she was not interested in taking up a job in India, reading this line that lady candidates did not apply, she felt that the company is discriminating based on the gender. So she took up this as a challenge and she wanted to do something about it. I had done extremely well in academics, better than most of my male classmates. Little did I know then that in real life, academic excellence is not enough to be successful. So she was doing excellently well in her academics. She did well than most of her male classmates. She was so confident in herself, but she did not know then that academic excellence is not the only thing that you need to be successful in life. So let's see what she did next. After reading the notice, I went fuming to my room. So fuming means when you get very angry, you say you're fuming. I decided to inform the topmost person in Telco's management about the injustice the company was practicing. So she wanted to point out this injustice to the topmost person of the company. So what did she do? I got a postcard and started to write, but there was a problem. I did not know who headed Telco. She wanted to write to the topmost person in the company, so she got a postcard and she started to write, but she did not know whom it should be addressed to. She did not know who was heading the company then. I thought it must be one of the Tatas. I knew J.R.D. Tata was the head of the Tata Group. I had seen his pictures in newspapers. Actually, Sumant Mulgaonkar was the company's chairman then. So you might have heard about J.R.D. Tata. You can see his picture here. His full name is Jahangir Ratanji Dadabhai Tata. So he's better known as J.R.D. Tata. So he is the founder of several industries under the Tata Group, including the Tata Consultancy Services, Tata Motors, Voltas, Air India, Titan Industries and much more. So Sudha Murthy has read about J.R.D. Tata in the newspapers and magazines. But she was not sure whether he is heading the company then. She was not sure whether he is the chairman then. Who is the chairman? Chairman of a company is the person who is taking care of the company and its employees. At the time, the chairman of the company was Sumant Mulgaonkar, but Sudha Murthy was not aware about this. So she wrote a letter addressed to J.R.D. Tata. So let's see. I took the card, addressed it to J.R.D. and started writing. So let's see what she wrote to J.R.D. Tata. The great Tatas have always been pioneers. They are the people who started the basic infrastructure industries in India, such as iron and steel, chemicals, textiles, and locomotives. They have cared for higher education in India since 1900, and they were responsible for the establishment of the Indian Institute of Science. Fortunately, I study there. But I am surprised how a company such as Telco is discriminating on the basis of gender. So she writes this long letter to J.R.D. Tata and she posted it. I posted the letter and forgot about it. Less than 10 days later, I received a telegram stating that I had to appear for an interview at Telco's Pune facility at the company's expense. I was taken aback by the telegram. So this telegram is a way of sending short, urgent messages that people mostly used in the past. So after posting the letter, she completely forgot about this incident. And what happened? In less than 10 days later, she got a telegram, means she got an urgent message that she was asked to appear for an interview at Telco's Pune office. I was taken aback by the telegram. It means she was so surprised to get the telegram. As directed, I went to Telco's Pimpri office for the interview. So Telco's office was located at Pimpri. So as directed, she went to the Pimpri office. There were 6 people on the panel and I realized then that this was serious business. So panel means a group of people at an interview. The people who are conducting the interview for you. That's called the panel. So when she went there for the interview at the Pimpri office, there were 6 people in the panel. And seeing them, she realized that this is going to get serious. This is the girl who brought to JRD. I heard somebody whisper as soon as I entered the room. So she enters the interview room and she heard someone whispering that she is the one who wrote this letter to JRD Tata. By then, I knew for sure that I would not get the job. So she had sent this letter to JRD Tata, and seeing this letter, they called her for an interview, and seeing these 6 people in the panel, she understood that there was something serious going to happen, and she was sure that she is not going to get the job anyway. That realization abolished all fears from my mind. So I was rather cool while the interview was being conducted. Abolished means done away with, get rid of. That is what abolished means. That realization got rid of all her fears about the interview. She was so sure that she would not clear the interview. So she was rather cool. She was feeling very cool about it. She was not tensed at all. Even before the interview started, I reckoned the panel was biased. So I told them, rather impolitely, I hope this is only a technical interview. They were taken aback by my rudeness, and even today I am ashamed about my attitude. So what happened? So the interview was going on, but even before the interview started, she felt like the panel was biased. Biased means strongly preferring one thing to another in an unfair way. She felt like the panel had some kind of discrimination towards her. Since she had this feeling inside her, she just told them that she hopes this is just a technical interview. Technical means to do with science or industry. So since she had this feeling inside her, she was just asking them whether this is just a technical interview. And they were so surprised to see her rudeness. And later in her life, she felt very bad about her attitude towards them that day. The panel asked me technical questions and I answered all of them. So she was really good in academics. She could answer all the technical questions the panel asked her. Then an elderly gentleman with an affectionate voice told me, "Do you know why we said lady candidates need not apply?" So she answered all the questions from the technical interview, and after that, an elderly man asked her whether she knows why lady candidates were not welcomed for the post. The reason is that we have never employed any ladies on the shop floor. This is not a co-ed college, this is a factory. So this elderly gentleman was explaining to her that in the advertisement it was said lady candidates did not apply, and this man was explaining to her this is only because they haven't appointed any ladies on the shop floor yet. They haven't hired any ladies in their factory yet. This is not a co-ed college. Co-ed means a college where men and women study together. So this is a factory. He explained that this is a factory, not a co-ed college, to have appointed ladies here. When it comes to academics, you are a first ranker throughout. So this man had gone through all her academic records and he could identify that she was really excellent in her academics. So he said that when it comes to academics, you are a first ranker throughout. We appreciate that, but people like you should work in research laboratories. So this man was trying to explain to her that this is a factory, not a gentle place for women to be. This is a harsh environment, so women like her should be working in research laboratories. I was a young girl from a small town, Hubli. My world had been a limited place. I did not know the ways of large corporate houses and their difficulties, so I answered, "But you must start somewhere, otherwise no woman will ever be able to work in your factories." So she was this small town girl. She was from a town called Hubli and she did not have much experience in the world. And she did not know the ways of these large factories and such environments, and hence she suggested them that they should start somewhere, an office or something, so that women can work there and come to the front. Finally, after a long interview, I was told I had been successful. So that was a long interview, and after that interview, she got selected. She was told that she had been successful. I consider JRD a great man because despite being an extremely busy person, he valued one postcard written by a young girl seeking justice. He must have received thousands of letters every day. He could have thrown mine away, but he did not do that. So, even though he was a very busy person, he took the time to go through the letter this young girl sent him. And he did not just throw it away, instead, he did something about it. He respected the intentions of that unknown girl who had neither influence nor money and gave her an opportunity in his company. So, instead of throwing away her letter, he gave her an opportunity in his company. He did not merely give her a job, he changed her life and mindset forever. So this act of JRD Tata, that he gave her an opportunity in his company, seeing his greatness, her mindset and life was changed forever. So that was the story of the indomitable Sudha Murthy. I hope this was inspiring. So children, you please go through the story once again. So that's all for today. We'll see you in the next class. Till then, bye.